Hello, first grade. Miss Crumb here with Mr. Monkey. We are ready to dive into wit and wisdom for today. It is going to be a great day. We are talking about art and vocabulary. So let's start by looking at some of the words that we learned last week and do a quick review, okay? All right. I say and then you say admire, admire, scour, scour, mock, mock, scold, scold, forgive, forgive, versions, versions. Awesome. So we have used all those words in our news stories with Miss Henderson and Miss Scribner, Miss Vang, and now we're going to jump into some new ones. Are you ready? All right. For this week, we have two new words. We have the word honest, honest, and the word gasped, the word gasped. Have you heard these words before? Some of you have. Excellent. If you have not, that's all right. We're going to learn them today, okay? All right, let's start with our first word, honest. What does honest mean? Honest is when you tell the truth. So if we look at this picture, it shows honesty because this person right here is being honest and telling the truth that they broke this kite. And sometimes it's tough to be honest, but being honest is a really, really good choice, even though it can be hard to do. So honesty is when you tell the truth, even if it's tough. Excellent. Now, our next word is gasped. What does gasp mean? Gasped is to make a noise with your mouth, but you don't say any words. A lot of times people will do this when they have a big feeling, when they're really scared or when they're surprised, they gasp. So it might look like that emoji right there, and he's going, and I really want you to listen close to the sound I'm making. A lot of people, when they gasp, they make a similar sound to, they're not saying an actual word, but their mouth opens up and you hear that sound and it's something that they're surprised or scared or they're reacting to. They're going, so I want you to think in the stories, those different Cinderella stories, has there been any times where somebody may have gasped? Mm. What about in your life? Is there anything that has ever happened that has made you gasp? Excellent. I know one time somebody was trying to play a trick on me and they snuck up behind me and they went boo and they scared me. And my reaction, what I did is I gasped. I went, because I was scared. I was surprised. And so that's something that I could connect with. What can you connect with to the word gasped? Awesome. Very good. All right. So we're going to use our new vocabulary words this week. So make sure you're listening for them and you're trying to connect with them. But before we're done for today, I want to dive back into some artwork. Do you remember the artwork we looked at last week? You do? Excellent. We're going to learn a little bit more about that today, okay? All right. So remember, when we're reading or when we're looking at art, there's a few things that we can do. We can wonder and notice to make connections. So just like when we read a book and we're asked to notice and wonder, you can do that while you look at art or while you look at the world around you. And there's always a possibility for us to make a connection and to grow our brain. So today we're going to dive back into the art and we're going to notice and wonder again and see if we can stretch our brain to notice and wonder even more things than last week. You ready? Okay, so let's quick review. This painting was the one we first looked at. The title of this painting is called First Steps, and it's by the artist Millet. First Steps. And then we looked at a different version of this painting. We looked at the version by Van Gogh that came after. And the title for his painting was First Steps After Millet by Van Gogh. So we actually had the other original version, this version. He took that person's name and put it in his title. So his title is First Steps After Millet. Hmm, interesting. I already see a few of you wondering. Excellent. I see a few connections. Good. All right. So today we're going to dive in and we're going to really listen to those titles and we're going to see what they tell us about the images, okay? So this piece was called First Steps by Millet. And then this piece over here, see if I can move myself, it was First Steps After Millet by Van Gogh. So what do those titles tell us? Hmm. Excellent. I noticed that too, that they're telling us about this person's first steps. In this picture, I noticed that the one who seems to be the youngest is this child right here. So it makes sense that she's taking her first steps. Now it looks like they're taking their first steps towards this person. So that might have inspired the artist to do this huge, beautiful painting. Excellent. Now, this title says First Steps After Millet. So Van Gogh, this painting, he's telling us that he drew this after Millet. He's being very honest. He's saying he got his idea and made another version of Millet's original painting. So he did that, and when he did his version, he made it a little different, but he's still talking about first steps. He's still talking about that child taking their first steps, even though he changed some of the colors and the textures around it. Excellent. Let's keep going. What makes this an important moment? What makes this painting show an important moment? Why would the artist choose to draw this? Let's think about that. Well, I know that first steps, it can be a big deal. And people get really excited when someone's making their first steps because being able to walk is something that we need to learn how to do throughout our life. It's very helpful. Have you ever seen a baby take their first steps? Do any of you have a younger cousin or brother or sister or that you've got to see try walking and how excited everyone gets? Yeah, people get really excited. So this artist decided that that meant it was a special moment and he wanted to kind of capture that moment. He wanted to remember that special moment of the baby taking their first steps, so he decided to draw it. And then that inspired another artist, Van Gogh, to do another version of that same drawing because it was such an important moment to remember those first steps. Excellent. All right. So what are some important family events that happened in the stories of Cinderella and Cinderella? Those two new versions that we've been reading. So think, in these paintings, First Steps by Millet and First Steps After Millet by Van Gogh, they were both showing those important family moments, right? That's why the artist chose to capture them and kind of save them forever in a painting. Now, I want you to brainstorm and think what you've been learning in these different versions of Cinderella and think about what some of those important family events that have happened. What's been happening in those stories? What would some of those families want to hold on to and maybe capture forever? What are some of those bigger moments? Maybe you've heard them in the words or you've seen them in the illustrations. Thinking. I think that for me, when I think of a big moment in that story, it's when Cinderella, or the main character, gets to um, kind of step away from the hard work at home and go explore and maybe meet that prince. I think that's a big moment. Do you think so? Agree or disagree? What do you think are some other big moments in that story? Some things that really stand out that they would probably want to remember or that you would want to remember? Excellent. So your job this week is to notice and wonder what is similar and what is different as we read these versions of Cinderella. I want you to think of those big moments that she goes through with her family and think if they're the same in all of the different versions we're going to be learning, even though they're a little different. Just like First Steps by Millet, this moment of the first steps is still the same in Van Gogh's painting. He is still showing the first steps. Now, it looks a little different. There's some things that are not the same, but they're both showing those same important moments. I want you to go and listen closely as our teachers share these new stories, and I want you to see if you notice anything similar or different throughout these stories, but see if they have any of those big moments that stay the same, that are important, okay? All right, I know you guys can do it. Keep stretching those brains. I love and miss you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.